What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. This right here is the fastest design tool in the market. Now imagine you can design production ready app screens with just a single prompt in a couple of seconds. This is what FlutterFlow just released, and the tool is called FlutterFlow Designer, and in this video I'm going to show you an overview, how it works, how you can use it, and possibly get your screens imported into FlutterFlow to continue building. Now, you know how for a while FlutterFlow brought in their AI tools embedded into the platform, and it had things like page and component generation, and sometimes that flopped really bad. Right now, they made something like Dreamflow, a spin-off of Dreamflow, but instead of using it to build complete applications, you can use it to create complete designs. Now, this tool is called FlutterFlow Designer, and it's available at designer.flutterflow.io. As you can see on the URL, you can definitely check it out. And just like any other tool, it supports natural language interpretation. Now, when you visit it, you see a sample prompts that you can try out. But for this, I'm going to use a simple prompt like this. So I wanted to design something like a fitness app with workout tricks and some quick action buttons. And in a couple of seconds, I think the design should be up. Let's count 1, 2, 3. Oh boy, look at the interface is already scaffolding, and we have all the designs being populated. This is very interesting. Now, this looks really good. We have the authentication page. Well, I'm not a big fan of the multiple colors, but that's just simply because of the kind of prompts that we give it. And there's also, it means that we can change the interface right here. We have this other page for the entry page, I think so, the onboarding page. This is so sweet. And for these generations are not complete, we can just click on this icon, reload here, to reload the generations, and it's going to initiate the generating of the pages that have not been generated. Now, if you're familiar with any design tool, the interface is very simple. On the left here, you have all the screens that you can click to edit or modify. And one beautiful thing I noticed is the interface, or the layers in which the elements are, follow the similar structure in which we have our Flutter elements, our Flutter widgets, right? Just like if you're very keen with FlutterFlow, you should see this interface as the same. We have a column and a row, and each row has its own elements and whatnot. So that way you can easily edit them. Let's take, for example, you want to modify the theme. You can come over here to the theme tab, and it provides you access to multiple things that you can change, like the colors, the font, the spacing, and whatnot. And one beautiful thing is, as you're changing this color, it gets updated in the design in real time, as you can see right here. Like any other tool, each element that you click on the canvas has its properties, and it's available on the right here. Let's take, for example, for this text, we can change things like the color, the spacing, the whatsoever thing, and even the font. And we can also modify the text. Let me just add this exclamation. And of course, the properties vary for each element on the canvas. Now, right here, the tool is brilliant enough to know how to create components. So this right here is an example of a component. This example is the achievement card. So let's click on it to see if we can isolate and edit it. And you're right. Okay, so let's try changing this radius and see if it actually reflects on all the other components. It should, just like how we do with normal like design tools or FlutterFlow itself when you're building something like 80, or yeah. And oh goodness, okay, actually changed the radius. The border radius got changed. This is so interesting. One thing I forgot to mention on the theme section is, besides the colors, you can also modify other properties, like something like the spacing, where you can increase or reduce it to give the global spacing of all the widgets and elements in the design screen. So you can modify that, and a lot of other things, as you can see here. This preview interface is currently set to mobile. Let's say you are trying to design a web app. There is also a preview for that, and your design can be generated to suit larger screens. So right here on the top, you can see that we are currently on iPhone 17 Pro Max. So let's switch it up to something like MacBook Air, and you see the screen is also responsive. Well, you might need some modifications, but that's the idea. So you can design web apps too with this. Just beneath that, when any screen is selected, you see this action button says export to FlutterFlow. Now, this will actually export the whole entire screen to FlutterFlow. So you click on it, it's going to copy that widget on your clipboard, and then you have ability to paste it up to FlutterFlow. Now, over on here on FlutterFlow, I have this example page, and it's advisable that before you paste a design from FlutterFlow Designer, you need to select a widget. So I'm just going to click paste, and I have an option to either apply the designer theme or keep my existing theme. So I'm going to keep my existing theme for now. That gets pasted on FlutterFlow, and you can see each widget is positioned accurately. Now, we are still using the initial theme that I had. Let's just try to evaluate the page right here. So this initially was supposed to be a graph. I'm not sure what is happening here, but you can see all the other widgets and whatnot are showing correctly. And the component, oh, a component also got created. You can see the widget tree, it has a row, column, icon button, container, and everything very accurately. And this is the chart widget that gets brought through. Down here on this widget tree, you can see that it brought in this component, the metric card component, and it also created a corresponding component on FlutterFlow that is being used in that page. This is very interesting. One thing I noticed is I pasted on this home page, but it went ahead and created its own page. Maybe that's the expectation. I'm not quite sure, but things like that are expected for a tool that is very, very new. Now I'm curious to see how FlutterFlow will handle the gradient. So let me come and copy this page and try importing it into FlutterFlow. And while pasting this time, let's try to apply the designer theme, right? Let's see how it's going to look like. So the page gets pasted, and as you can see right here, all the elements are showing. It might not be quite effective per se. Let me switch to dark mode because the app was in dark mode. Yeah, not very impressive, but at least we got the design in and we can start modifying from here. Again, this just gives a quick start on how you can start bringing your design to life without having to worry about positioning each widget or element. This design doesn't really look very nice, but that's not the point. Now let's say for some reason you want to make modifications to the design. You can still get back to this chat interface and ask it to make alterations. So I'm not a very big fan of this shouty blue, so I'm going to say something like you should change the primary color to teal, and let's see what we are going to get. Oh, this is interesting. It is instead creating a new page. Now, for some reason, the app shows that this thing doesn't have context of the entire project itself, because I expected it to change at least the primary color and not create a new page. But that's something that is expected for a tool that is still very, very new. But that's not the point. Okay, so the context there is empty. Let's say, for example, click on this page and you see down here, it gets the context of that page, so you can make modifications to that page. So apparently, each element that you click on, it provides a context for that particular element down here, and you can chat to make modifications to it. I think FlutterFlow should look for a way to give like a global context, right? That knows all the pages that are involved, whatever thing, the styling, theming, and whatnot, so that can be modified. Anyways, it's not a very impressive way to do these modifications like that, having to chat each time to make a simple modifications. Although the properties panel is there on the right, but that's not very, very logical. Now, let's say, for example, you've designed your app here and you have over 20 pages. Will you go importing one after the other? No. If you click up here, you see this button, export to FlutterFlow, and when you click on it, it copies all the pages of this design, like every single page that you can just import at once in FlutterFlow. So I'm going to delete like some of these pages that I have created, and let's import that. Now for this import, I'm going to apply the designer theme, and as you can see right here, all the pages and components got imported. Now there are some errors. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe some screens failed. But using this as compared to having to use the normal or the initial FlutterFlow page design and generation, or even the Figma import, this is much more preferable. I really love what this is doing and how it does it. Now, I'm not sure if you noticed, but here on FlutterFlow Designer, if you click on a particular screen, on the right here, it has export prompts for. So you can export the prompts for that particular screen to your AI editor, like say you're using Copilot or Cloud Code, or maybe any vibe coding tool, right? It's going to export the entire screen, a screenshot of that page, and the context that you need to develop that page in detail. Now let's export that and see how it looks like. This triggers a download of a zip file, and when you unzip it, you have the image of that particular screen and additional context in a markdown file that you can actually populate the vibe coding or AI editor or whatever thing to build that particular screen. Now the contents of this file is very, very interesting. Now as you can see, it is describing the entire page and all the elements that are on that page in a particular hierarchy and format. This is just like a major JSON prompt, right? In my opinion, if you ask me, I think this is too much. It's detailed, it's good, it is this way, but it can play a lot of on the amount of tokens used for translating the page into an actual working thingy. But that's the cost of effectiveness, right? So this is very interesting. In my next video, I'm going to show you guys how to actually design from here, implement on FlutterFlow, and actually tie it to a particular database. That way, this doesn't just only be a boss, we'll actually see if it's actually production ready or if we can use it to build an actual application and not just design things that will stay in the shelf. Now, I have another suggestion. Right now, there is no way for us to add an element without prompting. So there is no like plus button or anything to add. If I just need to add an icon, I need to prompt for the icon to be added, and I have to describe the position. So my suggestion is FlutterFlow should look for a way for us to actually be able to add elements or widgets, whatever, into our designs. So if I don't want this, I should delete it and maybe add an element like a row. I should be able to embed a column and all the like, just like how we do normally with FlutterFlow. So I think that's going to be a huge advantage. Anyways, just to round up, this has been a very interesting find. Quick suggestion: FlutterFlow allow for global context of the entire project, provide us with a button that we can add things and just improve the UI for scrolling and when we are moving objects. Again, in my next video, I'm going to show you guys how to design from here and actually implement in FlutterFlow. Thank you guys for watching. Down below in the description, there are a couple of resources that you might want to check out. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe, and see you in the next video.